it's not so much about weightlifting and cardio. All right. And there's a lot of people out there still that are still stuck in that modality, lifting the weights, trying to get big, trying to get strong, lifting really heavy, and really looking for size and shape and that kind of thing. And if you want to grow old gracefully, in my opinion, you're going to have to make a switcheroo somewhere. I'm talking to those of you out there who are 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 66, and beyond. Folks like us, if you want to continue to be flexible, still strong, still agile, functional fitness, in my opinion, is the way to go. Now, what is functional fitness? Hey, boys and girls, it's Uncle Tony here. How are you today on this glorious day, wherever the heck you are on planet Earth? And I wanted to come in and chat with everybody about something that I'm hearing a lot about lately. There seems to be certain conversations that I'm aware of outside of myself, also including me. And it involves senior citizens like me, people who are, 55 and older. And this could apply to anybody maybe between the ages of 45 and 105, whatever it is. And so, if you kind of look at my lifestyle, what I've been able to gather over the course of the decades is there are certain behaviors that I try to follow on a very consistent basis that have everything to do with growing old gracefully. Now, a lot of times we hear that expression. What does growing old gracefully look like? And I'm seeing different versions of it out there in the world. Some that I would not necessarily agree with because it don't look too graceful to me when I see what certain people doing, maybe from the age of 45 and up, right? So as a 66-year-old, I'm feeling pretty good, right? So what are the basic things that I'm doing that maybe are different than what I was doing in my 20s and 30s? All right, I made a shift, and the shift is this. One of them is obviously, or not obviously, but I'll explain to you right now. Is that I went from more of an aesthetic approach, like what did I want my shoulders and chest and arms and back and butt and legs and calves to look like? I was very, I don't want to use the words hung up on the way I look, but yeah, it was a priority. And the effects on my mental and emotional state were never even in play. You know what I mean? It was really about going to the gym and lifting hard and doing the right kind of cardio so I could be sculpted and show my abs, my intercostal muscles, and show my striations and vascularity and all that kind of thing. Because in the early days, I was beginning to be on camera. And when you're on camera, you want to look the very best that you can look. So that was kind of where I was as opposed to where I am now. And now it's more about functional fitness, right? It's less about, I want to say it's not less, but it's not so much about weightlifting and cardio. All right. And there's a lot of people out there still between the ages of 18 and whatever, older than me, that are still stuck in that modality. All right. They're still just lifting the weights, trying to get big, trying to get strong, lifting really heavy, maybe maxing out 8 to 10 reps, whatever it is on their whatever exercises, and really looking for size and shape and that kind of thing and appearance. And all that is to a certain extent, and there's not that there's anything wrong with it, has everything to do with ego. All right. Your ego is a huge part of that kind of mentality. And if you want to grow old gracefully, in my opinion, you're going to have to make a switcheroo somewhere there. All right. And it's different for everybody. A lot of folks can lift really big well up into their, mid 60s and not get hurt. So the idea here is to avoid the classic 3: boredom, injuries, and plateaus. And so if you want to avoid the boredom and the injuries and plateaus that usually are caused by people who are kind of doing the same thing over and over again and expecting whatever they're trying to expect, then you have to make a shift. And making that shift is difficult because you've grown so attached to these things that you love. You want to get on the elliptical, you want to pound your chest, you want to pound your legs, you want to pound your back or whatever it is, and you want this certain aesthetic appearance. And in my opinion, growing old gracefully means that you should be self-aware more, understanding the importance between the difference between getting big and shaping your body and looking in the mirror and taking selfies all the time and showing everybody how gorgeous and groovy you are. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with that. If you're younger and you're maybe you're an athlete or you're somebody who's just really trying to look a little bit differently, because that's going to build your self-esteem and your confidence. Look, I don't want to poo-poo that at all. Whatever gets you in the gym, whatever gets you doing Power Nation, whatever gets you doing P90X or whatever it is, great. But I'm talking to those of you out there who are 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 66, and beyond. And I think that folks like us, if you want to continue to be flexible, still strong, still agile, still looking good too, then functional fitness, in my opinion, is the way to go. Now, what is functional fitness? Like, what am I talking about? Well, you're still doing the weights and you're doing the cardio, and that's part of the equation. I'm going to be doing cardio tonight. All right, I got some guys coming over, and I'm not going to just get on the VersaClimber like I used to for 50 minutes. I mean, wow. I mean, I don't even know how the heck I used to be able to do that, but I did, because I thought, okay, I'm going to do the VersaClimber today for 50, and I'm going to do the bike the next time for 50, and I'm going to do whatever, the treadmill for 50. And I'm trying to avoid the boredom, injuries, and plateaus. So, tonight, for example, I'll be doing 9 different stations, 9 different cardiovascular exercises back to back to back, twice around. Now, you might not have access to a slide board and a ski machine and jump rope and rower and VersaClimber and heavy bag and treadmill and endless rope like I do. But I set up my gym so that I can get all those things in, and I can take care of my cardiovascular strength. And tomorrow, for example, I'll be doing weightlifting, right? But I also do animal flow, and I also do ninja stuff, and I also do yoga and Pilates, and I do the kinds of things where it's a lot of body weight, a lot of functional, a lot of calisthenics, things of that nature. All right, because I don't need to be big anymore. Right? I mean, I weighed 180 pounds when I did P90X. I weigh 172 pounds now. 172, 168, between 168 and 172 pounds. And I look basically the same. But here's the crazy thing. I don't have the injuries that I used to have. I don't have the shoulder problems I used to have. I don't have the knee problems and the back problems that I used to have, because I made the switcheroo. All right. And that's really, really important. I always say variety is the spice of fitness, and it was the spice of fitness back in the day. If you look at P90X, 12 different workouts, 12 different routines, that cornucopia, that panoply, that mixture of different kinds of things gave people the results that they would have never expected in their entire lives, because they had that amount of variety, and that variety is what forces you to work on your weaknesses as much as your strengths. And I still do that, but now that I'm getting older, I'm not lifting as heavy. I'm not maxing out on 6 and 8 reps anymore. Sometimes I'll go into the gym and I'll do 12, 15 repetitions. I'll back off on the weights by, anywhere from 5 to 20 pounds. And I'll get more of a burn and less of a heavy lift that can adversely affect my joints. Because what happens if you don't make that shift, and you're not aware of the functional fitness aspect of growing old gracefully, then you're just going to be hurt all the time. All right, because it becomes too competitive, it becomes too much about your ego, and then you're going to have to take 4 to 6 weeks off because of whatever you did, whatever torn muscle, whatever ligament, or whatever bursts that you've got going on in various joints, because you just overdid it. Because the past is history, the future is a mystery. It's not a bad idea to figure out what to do now so that the future's better. Okay, so that's one aspect. That's one. I'm still only on one. All right, that's really, really important when it comes to growing older gracefully. Making those switches, working on your flexibility, working on speed, and working on your range of motion. All right. And then of course there's the balance aspect too. All right. If you're lifting weights and doing cardio, you're not working on your balance. You're not really working on speed. Maybe if you're doing, hill sprints, or you're hitting a heavy bag, or doing some martial arts, there's some speed stuff in that. But as we get older, and even the people that are exercising on a regular basis, and they think they're doing everything right, and they're not working on speed, balance, and range of motion, you're still vulnerable. You're still vulnerable to injury. And there's nothing worse than being semi-fit, falling off the curb, breaking your hip, going into the ICU, and then everybody's at your funeral 2 weeks later. And that has happened over and over again. Not only with people who are out of shape, who haven't really been working on their health and wellness, but also the people who are just not working on balance. And there's a great article I read only a couple of weeks ago that 80% of Americans over the age of 30 will never run as fast as they can ever again. Now think about that. That makes me just wonder, like, why aren't we working on speed? And you can get it through martial arts. Pow, right? Moving quickly, turning, twisting, torquing, driving the hips, kicking, punching. Really, really important. That's one way to do it. You don't need anybody else to punch. You don't need a heavy bag to punch. You just can do it in the air like you do in P90X, X2, and X3 and all the programs I've ever did, including the Power of Four on powernationfitness.org. All right. There are ways to grow old gracefully if you make the changes that will be hard at first because you're so used to what you were doing, but you learned Uncle Tony. He's been around for a while. He's 66 years old and he's doing okay. So that's the first area. It's the fitness part. It's the exercise part. It's those routines that you do 5 to 6 days a week. Now, if you're going to work out 5 to 6 days a week, which means you got to work out a minimum of 22 days a month, which is really important because this is your lifestyle now, right? This is who you are now. You're not that person who works out sporadically. All right. You know, it's like everything else. And I know I sound like a broken record, but you eat all the time and you sleep all the time and you go to work all the time and you take your supplements all the time, but you're only going to work out 3 days a week. I mean, that's 4 days off. And so no wonder you're frustrated and sore and tired because you're not really taking care of yourself on a more consistent basis. So it's 20 to 22 to 25 days a month till the day you die on the fitness thing. Now, again, what is the other key thing? What's number 2 when it comes to growing old gracefully? Well, the first thing I would say there is burning the candle at both ends. Cool when you're young, man. Very little sleep. You're out hanging out with your pals, partying, pushing the envelope. That's all fabulous and wonderful and great. But we're in our 50s and 60s. And so there needs to be this is part 2A. There'll be part 2B. A is your mindfulness practice. All right. Learning how to chill, learning how to be in the moment, learning how to relax, learning how to just take it easy. Because the pendulum has to swing in both directions. If you're over here fighting the good fight and you've got terrible sleep and you have no meditation practice or you're not, whatever, if prayers are your thing and you're not doing that on a regular basis, or you're not doing breath work, or you're not hanging out with your dog, Charlie, like I do, if you're not out in the yard gardening, if you're not out going for a walk, if you're not doing a couple sun salutations in the morning as opposed to drinking 3 cups of coffee. So there needs to be a mindfulness practice. All right. Now, mindfulness, the things that I've described and others like it, listening to music is a mindfulness practice. Anything that takes your mind, get it? Mindfulness, it's in the word, means that you're not dealing with the day-to-day stress. I'm talking about stress that is outside of just the physical stuff that you're doing when it comes to exercise. It's the mental and emotional stress that's happening. It's work, it's family, it's politics, it's whatever you're having to deal with. It's, can create some stress. And so the best way to do that is part A is figure out what your mindfulness practice. Now I'm going to look up here and I'm going to tell you what mine are. So I have music. I have going for a walk, hanging out with Charlie and Lola, taking naps. Gorgeous. All right. Don't feel guilt about taking and it's got to be no more than 15 minutes, 20 minutes the max. Because what happens is your circadian cycles start to kick in while you're taking a nap at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You wake up, you don't even know what day of the week it is. All right. So take little fighter naps. The Navy pilots have known this forever. They're doing sorties all day, taking off and landing on aircraft carriers, and they take a little 15 minutes and then they can come right back and do their thing again. So don't make it too long. Sometimes, you know what I need? I need like 30 seconds to 3 minutes just to lie down, just to be horizontal and taking some deep breaths. I will take short naps and I'll do my box breathing while taking my naps. And I swear to God, I'm right back in the game again when I'm kind of feeling anxious. What else do we have? I'm looking at meditation, which is different than breath work. Now, I used to meditate or try to meditate. There's that, but there's John Kabat-Zinn's book, that one right there, that horizontal book, Full Catastrophe Living, tremendous, big, thick thing, like I don't know how many, 800 pages. A lot of great information in there, but I've discovered that breath work is different than meditation. Meditation takes a lot of work and a lot of effort. It's not easy. You've got body scan, you've got just kind of clearing out your mind, sitting in lotus, whatever. Breath work seems to work for me because it takes my mind off the, count. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4. And then when you exhale, hold for 4 and repeat that, or 5 or 6 or 8 or 12. I'll get to the point where I can inhale in a 12 count, hold for a 12 count, exhale in a 12 count, and with no air, do that. Now it takes time to go from 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And these things are really important, especially if you want to exercise on a regular basis. And then what else? I've got reading, and then just being with Shauna, my wife, who I love so very much. We take some me time together, and we'll get horizontal together. And it doesn't have to be about sex. It just has to be about telling jokes and stories, and just enjoying each other's company, and just relaxing. And whether it's on a couch or on the bed or outside in a couple of loungers. Really, really important, just so you can readjust and recalculate mentally and emotionally. Really, really important. And then, of course, the last one on my this is my mindfulness list is altruism, giving, charities. Um, I give to World Central Kitchen. It's part of my thing. I love doing that, donating money. Not a lot, sometimes more, sometimes less, really. And then like if I see a catastrophe happening around the world, I've given money to Ukraine. I've given money to the hurricanes down in Florida and North Carolina. Wherever World Central Kitchen goes, also in the Middle East, I've given them some money there, wherever they just to feed people, man. People in trouble on either side of whatever issue. People are starving. Let's take care of people, and that just gives me great joy. And that's part of my healing process, part of my mindfulness practice. All right, so here is two-part B. And two-part B is more about recovery. All right. Mindfulness is for the mind. Recovery is for the body and the mind. Write that down. Very, very important. So and now I'm going to look up at the wall again, or I could pull. I should have had it here, but I don't. And so now we're talking about cold plunge. Now I have a cold plunge outside. It's a coldture, right? So that's cold plunge. Phenomenal. Super proteins, inflammation, and you want one that's you don't have the maintenance guy over all the time. And coldture. That's COLDTURE. Awesome. On the list. Next on the list is I have a sauna. I have a sunlight and sauna. All the plugs. I apologize, but I try to get the very best. And you go that way. You guys and gals don't have to go around and Google what's the best this and that, because I've already done it for you. So sunlight and infrared sauna, different sizes. Indoors, outdoor. I have mine outdoors. It has this really cool cover, so it doesn't take up a bunch of space in the house. But if you have room in the house, and so what I'll do is I'll go back and forth between the sauna and the cold plunge. Just sort of whatever, back and forth. And I feel like jello afterward, and all the aches and pains that I do suffer from on occasion. It mitigates it tremendously. And again, like if you look at LeBron James, he's going to be 40 soon. I don't know when you all see this thing. He scored more points than anybody else, and he's still hitting threes, and he's still dunking because of every hour that he's either playing or training. It's another, I think, 2 hours of recovery time. And he has to do that because he's a professional athlete and he wants to keep going and keep, breaking more records. But just as a regular human being, if you guys and gals are working out for 30, 40, 50 minutes, then you're going to need, somewhere else during the course of your week to do one of these things. Now, you don't have to, I don't do the cold plunge every day. I don't do the sauna every day. I just kind of pick and choose and do what I need to do. All right. So I'm going to give you the rest of my recovery list. It goes like this. Now I foam roll. I have a rumble roller and I have regular rollers. I have big ones, little balls that I stick in places, whatever it is. If you got adhesions, if you're working out, if you're breaking down muscle tissue, those adhesions, man, they're just aggravating. And so if you want to take care of those, you got a foam roll. You can use a baseball. You can use a lacrosse ball. You can use, whatever. You can put a pool, something from your billiards ball into a sock. That'll work too. Whatever you got. It's really, really important. So foam rolling is really good for those adhesions. And then massage, if you got a masseuse somewhere in your neighborhood. Sean and I like them. We don't get them very often. We live in LA, so it's crazy expensive here. And we haven't, we just can't afford them all the time. But even Uncle Tony can't afford everything. It's the way the world goes. But a good old massage. I know a lot of people have never had a massage in their whole life. Like, get that at least once, man. You get it once, you're going to want to have it maybe, 6 times a year. And it's just absolutely amazing. You can't beat it. Somebody else on there just grinding those elbows in there and doing whatever they need to do. And you just tell them where you're having some issues. Also, if there's a stretch lab near anybody, I don't have a deal with Stretch Lab. Tim Trost, who was in the original P90X, was the creator of Stretch Lab, and he just had a genius idea. They're all over the country. I was in Indianapolis. I saw one. There's a bunch of them here in Los Angeles. Maybe if you're in a major metropolitan area, go check out Stretch Lab, man. Just having somebody else do that work for you, it's pretty awesome. So that's important. And then, of course, jacuzzi or spa, if you have access to one of those. We don't have one here at our house, but man, another just super relaxing thing you need to do to help your body recover. And then we have compression. Obviously, my supplements, you can go to Power Life. You can go to mypowerlife.com and use the Tony30 discount code. Don't pay full pop for that thing. All right, Tony30 discount code. Supplements are part of your recovery. If I can't tell you how many high school, college, Division 1, 2, and 3 Olympic athletes, professional athletes are all taking supplements, man. It's part of the recovery strategy, and it's just critical. And then, of course, protein is really, really important as well. A lot of people take 1 gram of protein for every pound. Well, yeah, if you're a bodybuilder or you're a football player, but just keep in mind that you maybe don't need as much protein as you think. You do need it. That's what the muscle survives on. You need protein synthesis. All right. And you also need the right kind of protein. I created one for myself. A lot of people really like it. We got HMB, vitamin D, and chromium in that. And it's been a game changer for a lot of folks who are really kind of suffering, because we're talking about growing old gracefully, right? And so if you're growing old, you're probably dealing with sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is a real thing, not a made-up word. Go Google the thing. It's a real word. It's age-related muscle loss. That's why you don't see a lot of jacked 95-year-olds, because when you get older, there just isn't enough cell growth. And if you're exercising and you're pushing the envelope and you're breaking down those muscles and you're doing all that, you need your recovery. But again, even if you're doing your foam rolling, even if you're doing your cold plunging, even if you're doing all those things that really help you get better, you're going to need to put something in the gob to go into the bloodstream and into your stomach, and then taking care of the muscles, ligaments, tendons, and all those other things, so they don't wear out, because things wear out when you get to be 66 and older. All right, and then what else we got up there? Oh, there's so many ways I do it. Heat is another one too, and one way to get heat, maybe a heating pad. You don't want to put hot anything on a new injury or something that's sore, that's pretty fresh to being sore. You want cold. And so when I'm really kind of, because since we don't have a jacuzzi here at the house, it's Epsom salt baths. I did an event the other day. I was in Las Vegas, AKA Lost Wages, and about 75 people in the audience. And I said, how many people here have a bathtub, or 1 or 2 in the house? And almost everybody had their hand in the air. And I said, how many people use it on a regular basis? And 10 hands went in the air, 10 out of 75. How many people have never used their tubs in their house? And I don't know how many, like half the room don't use their tub. Get some Epsom salt bath, Epsom salts, 2 cups, bing, bing. Make it so not so hot that it's brutal, but just warm and relaxing. Turn down the lights, play that, whatever, that Sade or Seal right there in the bathroom, and read a book, whatever you want to do. It is gold. It is part of your recovery. It's also got a very strong mindfulness component too. If you can get the mindfulness and the recovery happening at the same time, bingo, gorgeous, perfect. You're a winner. I'm not done. And then we have water is important. Obviously, hydration is everything. But water in itself, especially if you're exercising on a regular basis, H2O won't do the job. It's the majority of what you need to help you recover. But you need the electrolytes, right? You need the magnesium, the potassium, the sodium that come with electrolytes, and a good one that's not just got extra sugar in it. We've got one at My Power Life called Replenish. Great formula, really, really good. Does the job. You can go to mypowerlife.com and check it out there. Also, cryotherapy. If you have access to one of those facilities, that makes cold plunging look like you're in Hawaii on the beach. Cryotherapy is super intense. But LeBron James and other athletes have them in their homes because they can afford them. Kind of a high maintenance thing, but there's might be someplace locally, and that's my list. Oh, and last but not least, now drum roll, please. How do you grow old gracefully? You have to get your bedroom in order. All right, now the very first thing that I want to say about that is if you have electronics, if you have a TV in the bedroom, especially these modern TVs, a lot of EMFs, all right, a lot of this electromagnetic radiation coming at you, um, not good. All right, I mean these are EMF glasses. I got more than one pair. Look at this new pair I got. These are fun. Look at these guys. I'll put these on. Very modern. These big, thick. Yeah, what's going on there? Crazy. Yeah, yeah. It's like goggles. I can go skiing in these things. All right, so that's really, really important. And I use my phone. I use my phone as an alarm clock, but it's on the other side of the room and it's face down. All right, so I don't need to deal with that light. It plays a YouTube song, comes in nice and slow, gentle, wakes me up nice and easily, and that's really important. So EMFs out. All right, if you're going to have to, look at the screen, whatever it is, desktop, laptop, or phone, make sure you're wearing a pair of glasses that are blocking those EMFs for a couple hours before you go to bed, because it'll affect your ability to fall asleep. Super, super important. All right, and then of course. Maybe you're somebody who needs a fan or you need some ambient sound. All right. They have a lot of clock radios that have that kind of sounds like waves, sounds like a crackling fire, whatever the heck you need. I'm a silence guy. I need it dead, quiet in there. Shauna wears earplugs. My wife wears earplugs and an eye mask. I wear a breathe right and mouth tape. It's sexy in our bedroom, boy, I'll tell you. It's just like, okay, we do what we got to do to get the best night's sleep. So you got to find these strategies. Do you need to wear an eye mask? Do you need earplugs to get the quiet going? Do you have problems with your sinuses? Is a breathe right something that's going to open up the passages? Then if you can't breathe and you're not wearing mouth tape, then you're a mouth breather. All right. So the 8.5, 9 hours. I mean, some people can get by with 6.5, 7. All 4 of you. Good for you that you can still function in this world. The rest of us need more than we think because we're exercising 5 to 6 days a week. Good God, y'all. All right. And so for me, I'm with this, and I don't snore anymore, which Shauna loves. She doesn't really near the earplugs because I got the mouth tape going. I'll sneak one in once in a while. And also the breathe right opens up the passageways because when your mouth is open all the time, you ever see a lot of old folks talk about not growing old gracefully? And the mouth is open all the time, and you look over the car next to you, and I got that going. So all the dirt, all the dust, all the viruses, all the chemicals, all the junk that's in the air, right into your lungs, and your lungs are like, stop, this is not good. I cannot filter all this stuff. So, like when I go through an airport or there's a big crowd, my mouth is closed. You know what I mean? I'm not wearing masks anymore, but I'm going to rely on this incredible gift, these sinuses and this nose with all these filtration. Natural filtration that goes on in there to take care of me, especially when I'm sleeping at night. All right, so we've covered EMFs. I'm on the sleep thing big time here. It's really important because you got to get that room right. And the very last thing I'm going to talk about is the mattress and what I've done recently to make huge changes there. All right, but we'll get to that last. So you got, and the other one is light. Like our blinds are shut. They're not completely blocking out the light, but we want our bedroom to look like midnight 24/7. You know what I mean? Just if there's a lot of light in the room, maybe you're okay with that and you can sleep, but it's quiet in our bedroom and it's dark in our bedroom. And that is part of the strategy. A lot of people don't even think about these things, right? They got light streaming in, right? In the morning, whatever, it's 6 a.m. or something that's going to wake them up, or it's noisy out there. And if a lot of these things you cannot be mitigated, but if you can do it, then try it because the sleep is your number one mindfulness. I'm sorry, your number one. Back that up. It's your number one recovery practice. All right. And it's everything that everybody has to do all the time. All the other ones I mentioned above, you have to volunteer and figure out when you're going to schedule those. But when you're going to schedule your sleep, and that's at night. All right. Now, I'm going to get into the comforter and the sheets. Now, we have bamboo sheets across the board. They're just soft and silky. When it's warm, they cool you down. When it's cool, they warm you up. It's not silk, and it's not like 1,000 thread or anything else. It's bamboo, and they just dry and they wash and dry easily. They don't shrink, and bamboo has been huge for us, and that's really, really important. Also, when it comes to your sheets, And I'm going to get into pillow next. All right. It's a big sleep thing going. We're doing about sleep thing right now. And the sheets got to be washed like every week. Every week. A lot of people will sleep in the same dang sheet. Now think about you release billions. I'm going to say it's billions of skin cells. The crap coming out of your nose and the crap coming out of your eyes and the crap coming out of your ears and the crap coming off your skin. That's in your sheets on night one. It's all you get in. If you take a shower, right, scrub pretty good and go to bed, oh, you sleep better. That's for sure, right? Like the best combination is fresh sheets after a rocking shower or bath. Part of your sleep quality improvement. All right. But let's say you've been out all day and you're exhausted and you can barely brush your teeth and you hop into bed and you got all you still have underarm deodorant and everything else and it's nasty in there, right? Now, if you're a mouth breather and you're getting in, you're breathing in through your mouth all your dead cells. Wherever you're taking everything, every place you've been the whole day, wherever you've been, up the escalator, at the airport, at work, in traffic, windows are down. It's all in and on and around you, and then you're sleeping in it. It's nasty, man. So you got to make sure that if you can. I don't take a shower before I go to bed every night, right? But I do wash my sheets minimum once a week. You want to get that stuff out of there. Same thing with your pillowcases. All right, so how many ads do you think you see for pillows everywhere? I mean, it's endless. It's just a pillow world. I know my father, God bless him, he had the same pillow for like the entire time I was alive growing up. I mean, it was his favorite and he liked it. But you get near it and it smelled like it was crazy. Right? So I rotate my pillows, and maybe I should do it more. I'm going to be honest with you. I rotate my pillows. I don't mean rotate. I mean, I get rid of pillows. We get so attached to them. We think it's like our pet or our child or our favorite toy from when we were a boy. And you got to find one that you like. And then what I do is I find I have like two or three and I rotate them. Right. And I air them out and whatever. And I dry clean them, whatever I do. I can't put them in the washer because they're the ones I like have down in them. But you just got to get your pillow thing straightened out. If you got a pillow that's more than 5 years old, please, I beg of you, throw it the hell away and go out and buy another one or buy 3 or 4, rotate them or get a brand that's going to be around for a while and get new ones every once in a while. Nasty old pillows, they're not your best friend. They are giant disease balls and you're sticking your face and your eyes and your nose and your mouth and near these things. You got to get rid of them. Okay. When it comes to growing old gracefully, there's 15 other categories, other topics, but I'm talking about the physical here, what needs to be done there, the changes that need to be made, and the mindfulness practices and the recovery practices, so that if you do all these things together consistently, then you're going to be a different human being, right? So we all know about the difference between genetics and epigenetics. Genetics means you're just kind of rolling with it, right? You're not really paying much attention. You just assume that it's all gonna everything happens to you based on luck or random or whatever it is. And if you look at your parents, grandparents, and your great great grandparents, before they had all this information, like right, everything I've just disseminated to all of you, your parents, a lot of maybe if you're younger, but as a 66-year-old, my parents didn't know anything about the stuff that it was like completely, and then their parents and their parents, no shot, didn't know about anything, just smoking and drinking and sleeping in a hammock and having tons of stress with no mindfulness practice and no recovery. I'm going to recover from exercise. Even athletes way back then didn't have all that supplements and protein and infrared saunas and cold plunges, none of that. You're getting a lake maybe once in a while. So this is brand new intel. It's a lot. I don't want to really overwhelm you, but I can tell you that without sounding like a guy who's plugging stuff, I researched culture. I mean, there are other cold plunges, but that's the one for me. It's a great product out of Canada. Check the notes below to be able to find out how you can save some money through me. Same thing with Sunlighten. It's an amazing product. They got little ones and big ones and rooms for a lot of people. That's the one that, because a sauna with infrared as well, the benefits of infrared are are endless. It's all part of the recovery process, all part of the healing process. And then Essentia, we're not going to have to buy another bed for 25 years. And it's warranted and guaranteed and blah, blah, blah across the board. They're all handmade. They're all amazing. The gentleman who started the company, he was on my podcast, an amazing individual. He was really, really insightful. And that conversation that we had, I said, all right, send me a bed, man. And he just sent me one, and boom, it's been a game changer for me. And then, of course, check the notes for all those things. And the other ones are free. Foam rollers are cheap. All right. Meditation is easy. Breath work is easy. I would also say if you're getting kind of bored with your stuff, go to powernationfitness.org and check out Power Nation. The first 2 weeks are free. Get in there, look around. Tasha Danvers, 2-time Olympian. Her program is on there right now, and people are loving it because she is amazing and funny and incredible. It's a HIIT training routine. Michael Bradley's Animal Flow is way up there as well. Of course, there's Brian Palatucci's HIIT program, which is fantastic. Scott Morgan's on there too. He's got a huge fan base growing just because he's just so great on camera, and people really love what he's doing as well. So find the thing that works for you. Mine's called The Power of 4 by little old T. Horton. 24 workouts, a lot of different calendars. P90X had 12 workouts. I added 12 more because I figured, variety is really what I do, and I wanted to give that to all of you as well. So I hope that wasn't too much for all of you, but that's what I think this will appear on YouTube, and it'll show up in other places. And this is just what I've been able to learn as a 66-year-old. I'm relatively pain free unless I do something stupid once in a while. I get my, like last night, I got 9 hours, man, because I had the time. I didn't have to get up early for anything. And when the bed is so yummy and cozy and wonderful, you don't really want to get out of it. And it's nice to spring out of bed and without back pain, based on the technology that Essentia has created. It's really different. They do it differently than anybody else. There's a lot of people out there trying to sell you beds, but they're all made in factories in China. Sorry. And not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that, they're all not that different. But if you got a bed that you love, then I'm not going to tell you to buy something new. I mean, just stick with what you got, and that's okay too. As long as you're waking up refreshed and you're waking up not stuffed up, and you're waking up like you don't feel like someone's poured a bucket of sand in your mouth, and you don't wake up stressed out of your mind, or with your neck killing you or your back killing you, then if you're having those issues, then you might want to look into Essentia. And then all the other stuff, like I mentioned before, grow old gracefully by being open to change. And old dogs can learn new tricks. And when old dogs attempt new tricks, just FYI, don't judge what's about to happen to you. Transformation is harder now than it was when you were younger. But understand that transformation can still happen. It just might take a little bit longer. There's a slightly longer learning curve. So don't judge the fact that, it didn't work, and right? So these are beneficial. They're helpful. The facts and figures are there about this basic philosophy, these basic techniques. And when you make these changes, unlike your parents and grandparents and great-great-grandparents, then you'll have made changes that they never got to make because you have more information than they had. So that is all from me, T. Horton. Thank you so much. That is how you grow old gracefully. All right. Bye-bye.
I'm glad that you've really enjoyed this interview. I can tell because you're watching it, because I can see you. Anyway, since you're here, I know you're really going to fall madly in love with this next one. I mean, I'm talking about knowledge consumed by you. All you got to do is go right over there